Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out, episode 411. Yep, 411. This show is all about information, after all. So you will get the Tech 411 every week on this 1-hour show that aims to not just celebrate technology, but also helps to demystify it. As the announcer says, my goal is to break down geek speak into street speak. Hope you're all doing great today. Tough last couple of weeks in the news, both domestically and internationally. Hope everyone's doing all right. I just got back from Apple Park in Cupertino, California, where I got hands-on with the new iPhones and other tech, which I'll tell you more about shortly. And I will have some special guests on this hour to chat about their impressions of the new Apple gear. After all, iPhone is the number one smartphone in this country. Apple Watch is the number one smartwatch, and AirPods are the most popular earbuds in the world, actually. And so these new releases are newsworthy for that alone. So on today's show, after I chat about Apple news in a moment, my take on the events of this past week, photographer Jefferson Graham will share his thoughts with me about the new iPhone camera features. Then, tech analyst Avi Greengart will talk more broadly about the new Apple family of devices. I also interviewed him outside of Steve Jobs Theater on Tuesday, as I did Jefferson Graham. And then later on in this show, on Tech It Out, if you're looking to upgrade your Wi-Fi at home, I'll have NETGEAR on to chat about Wi-Fi 7, mesh systems, and other home networking solutions and smart home tech that you may want to hear about. All of this and more on an all-new Tech It Out powered by Visa, which I'll tell you more about a little bit later. But let me first share my thoughts about the new Apple products. All right, on Tuesday, after Apple CEO Tim Cook's keynote speech, yours truly, along with many other journalists and content creators and analysts, got our hands on the latest Apple products that are coming out later in September. The iPhone Air was probably the biggest news if you haven't seen it on TV. It's the thinnest iPhone ever at just 5.6 millimeters thin, yet it is durable as it's made with titanium and a proprietary technology called Ceramic Shield from Apple on both the back and on the front. On the front, it's the new Ceramic Shield 2, which is said to be 3 times more scratch resistant than regular Ceramic Shield. But the idea is that it is durable despite its thin form factor. It's a 6.5-inch display with very smooth motion. It's got 120 hertz refresh rate. So whether you're scrolling an article or you're playing a game, everything is silky smooth. It's got an A19 Pro chip under the hood and up to 27 hours of video playback. That's pretty remarkable given how thin this phone is, that they were still able to squeeze a great battery in there. And there's some software magic at work as well. Now let's talk iPhone 17. There were 3 new iPhones, the iPhone 17, the iPhone 17 Pro, which has a better camera and beefier processor, and the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which is the largest device. These also have Ceramic Shield 2 for better durability, that ProMotion screen, 120 hertz refresh rate for a lot smoother scrolling and gameplay. The iPhone, it's the same price as last year, surprisingly, with the tariffs and everything, and twice the storage. So it starts at 256 gigs of storage, which is twice that of last year's 128 gig iPhone to start. The cameras were the biggest story, I think, out of the iPhone 17, especially on the Pro and Pro Max. Some pretty amazing telephoto and ultra wide angle photography. I'm going to let my guests, both Jefferson Graham and Avi Greengart, talk a bit more about the cameras, but I thought that was the biggest story out of the new iPhones, but really impressive across the board. If you're into audio, AirPods Pro 3 was amazing to test drive after the keynote. Better noise cancellation. The AirPods Pro 3 can also measure heart rate when you're working out, and a cool feature coming called live translation. So if you're speaking to somebody in another language, in near real time, it will tell you in your ear what they're saying. So you can imagine 2 people wearing these AirPods Pro 3, they can actually converse, even though they have different languages as their mother tongue. I think that's awesome. And then finally, Apple Watch Series 11 is their next flagship smartphone. Love the better screen. It's thinner, brighter, 24 hours of battery now, which is great because they do encourage you to wear it at night. And yes, there is something called a sleep score, which can help analyze your sleep. It's more durable than previous versions. And for the first time, hypertension monitoring for high blood pressure, which is pretty cool to complement the bevy of other health features that Apple Watch has. On the larger Apple Watch Ultra 3, which is more for outdoor enthusiasts and, adventurous types, there's now satellite connectivity. So you can actually send messages to people when you're off the grid, when there's no cell phone towers nearby, or in an emergency situation, you can message 911. Very cool stuff. So, as you can tell, no shortage of impressive Apple products unveiled in Cupertino by Apple. Speaking of which, let me press play on that interview recorded with seasoned photographer and videographer Jefferson Graham to get his impressions on the new iPhones. All right, I'm here with the one and only Jefferson Graham. If you did not read his thousands of articles in USA Today over the years, the decades, you probably now watch him on Scripps News. He has a weekly show there streaming online, as well as his YouTube channel for photo walks. Great to see you, Jefferson, as always.
Same here, Mark.
All right, so we're here live right now at the iPhone 17 launch and right outside of Steve Jobs Theater at Apple Park. You are, of course, a photography guy. Who better to talk to about the new iPhone 17 family and the new iPhone Air when it comes to photo and video quality? Top level, what's your first impressions?
Okay, very simple. Improved selfies, way improved selfies, which I think is going to be the number one thing for people. A better telephoto, which will get you way closer to the action, which I've been asking for years, and I'm very impressed. As far as the iPhone Air, no. Okay. There's only one camera on that thing, and it's digital zoom. So, and also it's thinner and it's lighter, and really, who cares? My iPhone now is thinner and lighter. It really didn't do anything for me.
All right, so you're not sold on the new form factor, a 5.6-inch iPhone Air that, according to Apple, doesn't sacrifice durability. We'll see when it's out in the wild. But again, from a photography standpoint, you probably focus mostly on iPhone 17 Pro and iPhone 17 Pro Max, which is larger. You touched on selfies. Apple said during their conference today that 500 billion selfies were taken around the world last year on iPhone, which is more than any other smartphone. Probably not surprising. So what is new with the selfies? Talk to us about the new orientation options.
Okay. One of the biggest problems with taking selfies is that you can't fit people in the frame. And most people shoot them vertically when they should actually shoot them horizontally. And now Apple is going to shift it horizontally, even if you shoot it vertically. And they're going to fit more people in the frame. It just does it all automatically. And I've just been playing with it. I love it.
Yeah, so not only can you widen the camera or even leverage AI if you like to center you better. That's the center stage technology, I guess. But it's also higher resolution, right? 18 megapixels now.
18 instead of 12.
Yeah.
And we have the selfie camera that a lot of times you just don't want to use because it's lower resolution. So I'm all for the higher resolution, and I'm really excited about the 8x telephoto zoom, which is a big step up from 5x.
Is that on the regular iPhone 17?
That's on the Pro models.
Okay, so on the Pro models, if you take your photography seriously as you do, you can now get closer to the action, and that's important. I know other phone makers have done that for a while, but you were impressed overall with the rear cameras now on the iPhone. 48 megapixel, I think, for all three, right?
Yes, that's great, because for my money, the 1x lens is the sharpest, most consistent lens, and the other ones are not as good in low light, and they really fall apart.
And the other two are telephoto and wide angle, is that right?
Ultra wide,
thank you. Okay, so now between the three, and what's this fusion camera technology they were talking about?
That's digital zoom, where they crop a section of the image and they use AI to alter it and make it into something that it's not.
Just like the new Wizard of Oz at the Sphere that people aren't happy about.
Yeah, exactly. The Samsung and the Google Pixel, both, they tap out at 5x, so 8x is a big selling point for Apple.
Okay, that's optical zoom, not digital.
Zoom.
Okay.
They told me here it's optical zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, and then now let's talk about dual recording. So I know there have been some third-party apps that can do this and other phone makers, but the idea is that you can now shoot a video of somebody using the rear camera, but also record yourself at the same time, picture in picture. Do you like that?
There have been apps that have let you do this for years. It's a gimmick. I'll use it once and I'll never do it again. Now, there are YouTube videos where people react to things, so maybe this is going to be easier for them to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not the person who wants to do it, but I'd rather have it than not.
Yeah, so I was thinking the same thing for content creators. If you're recording something and you want to be on camera at the same time, I like that idea. You can also move around where the window is, so if it's obstructing your view, you could just take your finger and move it. So I can see content creators doing this, or maybe, soccer moms, right? They want to, record their kids playing soccer, but they also want to share with their friends their own reaction.
Okay, so it reminds me of the timestamp that we used to put on camcorders. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
A big green blinking light, and then when you watch it, you say, "Oh, geez, I ruined my video. Why is it there?" And so Johnny is going to make this goal, and then Mom's on there talking about it. I don't want to see that. I want to see Johnny.
Fair enough. All right, before I let you go, any other thoughts across iPhone 17 when it comes to photography or video? Anything we missed?
No, I think we got it $100 more for the Pro model, for the Pro Max model, which I did expect. I was actually surprised the other ones did not go up in price, considering the tariffs.
Okay. So overall, you were impressed with the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max, not so much on the iPhone Air.
Exactly. This is actually a better event than we've had since the 15.
Jefferson, always great to see you. Thank you so much for carving out some time to chat.
Not a problem. Okay.
A few more minutes about the iPhone and other Apple devices with tech analyst Avi Greengart when we return on Tech It Out. Stay with us.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We cover cybersecurity a lot on this program and how you can best protect yourself in the digital age, even if you're not super tech savvy. One part of the solution is securely shopping online. And so I'm thrilled about my partnership with Visa on Tech It Out, as they've made some significant investments in fraud prevention over the past 5 years, as much as $10 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B, to support Visa's brand promise to protect the financial information of individuals and businesses. Zero liability means peace of mind when you shop online using your Visa card. There can be no half measures when it comes to cybersecurity, which is why the company takes an aggressive and multi-layered approach to combating the rising threat of malicious software and other threats by well-funded and global criminal enterprises. Read more about Visa and how securing the world's payments is priority one at visa.com/security. That's visa.com/security. As I mentioned in the last block, I was at Apple Park in Cupertino, California, hands-on with the new iPhone Air, iPhone 17s, Apple Watch, and an AirPods Pro 3. But for his take on these new devices, who better to turn to than Avi Greengart, a well-known and respected tech analyst who I caught up with after the keynote. So let's go ahead and play that.
Of course, I'm going to run into Avi Greengart from Techsponential at Apple Park, right outside of Steve Jobs Theater. He is, of course, a leading analyst in the tech space. Nice to see you, Avi. How'd you like the show today?
Well, these are always fun. When Apple introduces more than one new product with some actually significant features, it makes the event a lot better, especially since we're mostly coming all the way out here just to watch a video that you can watch at home. But the key is that we do get hands-on afterwards. I got ears on with the new AirPods Pro. I got wrists on with the new Apple Watches. I got hands-on with the new iPhones, all of them. So it is impressive how you can take some iterative changes, but built on top of a platform that is so ubiquitous and so powerful that some of these products will change people's or save people's lives, and some will just make things more fun, like being able to take a selfie while holding your phone vertically, but having the selfie take horizontally. That's going to keep a lot of people from dropping their phones and getting much better selfies.
So there's a lot to unpack here. Why don't we start with iPhone 17 as well as iPhone Air, the slimmest iPhone ever unveiled, 5.6 millimeters thin. What did you find the most impressive? You already touched on the front-facing camera, so taking selfies is going to get better now because you don't have to change the orientation manually. You can just tap a button or have the AI do it, in fact, and put you front and center because of that AI. Were you impressed overall with the iPhone family?
So the iPhone 17, just the base model, seems like a bit of a bargain at the moment because the price didn't go up. It got faster, the cameras got better, and it has better battery life. So better all the way around and same price. So is it going to make somebody immediately upgrade? Not necessarily, but if you need a new phone, this is a pretty good one.
Right. Speaking of the cameras, they also showed how you can record a video and yourself at the same time. So I can envision the content creators liking that. You're recording something, maybe a clip of a concert, and the camera is also recording you picture in picture. Do you think that's a useful feature? I know there have been apps that let you do that, or other phone makers.
It can be useful.
Okay, so now let's talk iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. A beefier processor, the A19 Pro, better cameras. Now on the Pro models, the rear cameras are 3 separate cameras with each 48 megapixels of detail. Did you think that was impressive?
So I think the most impressive part is that by introducing the iPhone Air, it gives Apple's designers permissions to go all out for just battery life, durability, and performance on the iPhone 17 Pro family. And the iPhone 17 Pro is actually for pros. Even I, as a pseudo-semi, not really content creator, most of my analysis is delivered in conversational or text form. But even I'm never going to use half of what this thing can do. But it's bigger, beefier, and it's got longer battery life, and that's pretty great. The one thing that isn't pushing people to upgrade to it is that even the iPhone 17, the base model, now has variable refresh rate displays, which is something that a lot of tech reviewers have been complaining about for years. I'm not sure that most consumers have actually noticed, but it was a reason to, if you did care, it was a reason to move up to the pros.
So you're referring to the 120 hertz refresh rate on the iPhone screen now, which makes scrolling a lot smoother, and gameplay previously was half that. It was the typical 60 frames per second. So do you think this is noticeable?
Yeah, I mean, I've played around with it, but the issue isn't whether it's noticeable for me. The issue is whether it's noticeable for literally hundreds of millions of people who've bought iPhones without it and haven't been complaining. Where it really will impact people is not that, oh, now the scrolling is smoother, and it will be, and maybe hopefully people will notice it because it's much, much better. Where it's going to impact people is that it's variable. So in other words, the screen doesn't need to refresh if you're not actually doing something that needs a constant refresh, and that leads to better battery life.
Right, yeah. So as low as 1 hertz, they said, and up to 120, depending on what you're doing or not doing with your phone. And again, at the end of the day, all these bells and whistles don't mean anything if your phone is dying by lunch.
Once again, pardon the ambient noise. We were at the Steve Jobs Theater where I caught up with Avi Greengart. We're going to take a short break and continue our chat about the new Apple family of products, iPhone Air, iPhone 17, including the Pro and Pro Max, Apple AirPods 3, and Apple Watch Series 11, Ultra 3, and SE 3. So lots to unpack still. Stick with us. More Tech It Out coming right up after this.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, everyone. If you are just tuning in now, I've been chatting with Avi Greengart, a well-known tech analyst with a company called Techsponential. I caught up with Avi at Apple's headquarters in Northern California, just outside of Steve Jobs Theater when Tim Cook left the stage. We learned all about the new iPhones and Apple Watch and AirPods, and then we got some hands-on time with all the products. So let's continue that chat with Avi just outside of Steve Jobs Theater.
Let's now pivot and talk Apple Watch. So Apple Watch Series 11, Apple Watch Ultra 3, and even a new SE, a lesser price model, debuted. What did you think were the call-out features on these new models?
So the biggest call-out feature is that the Apple Watch SE got some major upgrades. So that's the low-priced one. That's the entry-level model. And now it has more of the health features, and I think that's going to be very significant. And it's significant on 2 levels. One is it's just a really good product. product. The bigger one, though, is in my research, I've seen that once people buy an Apple Watch, they're really tied to the Apple ecosystem. They don't want to leave. The Apple Watch is a great product. So even at the $249 level, you're getting more than you did before. The Series 11 Apple Watches now have hypertension notifications, and that's just going to save people's lives.
So it can detect if you've got high blood pressure over a period of time, I think a minimum of 30 days, and alert you to it. So you can then use that information to share with your physician actionable insights, if you will. I think that's a game changer as well. They did clarify that it wasn't FDA approved yet.
Not yet.
But yeah, so coming soon, they said to 120 countries. That's very exciting to complement what they already have, like a heart rate sensing and blood oxygen levels and all that. It's great to have that under the hood of the Apple Watch. And they also, I think it's a slimmer display, more durable, better brightness. So again, ticking all the boxes without sacrificing battery life. The Ultra 3 now has satellite connectivity. Can you explain what that means?
That means that when you're out of cell coverage, which is something that someone who buys a watch called Ultra might actually want to do, you'll be able to have Find My still work. You'll be able to, over satellite, you'll be able to do some messaging over satellite, not necessarily every kind of messaging that
right, but you're camping and you get lost in the woods, you can text for help.
Correct. Emergency SOS over satellite is one of the key features for this. And it makes it sort of a survival watch, but I still think that the main reason people buy the Apple Watch Ultra is because it has a bigger screen and a bigger battery. And the screen got even bigger, even though the case is the same size, because the bezel's shrunk just a little bit. It's a little bit brighter for better visibility in direct sunlight, and the battery got a little bigger too. So all these things just make your Ultra watch more Ultra. And yeah, if you take it camping, I'm never going camping, but if you take it camping...
Camping, maybe.
Yes, we'll see.
You've got a bunch of kids. They may want to go caravanning with you one day. All kidding aside, Avi, I just want to take one more minute of your time and ask you to talk about AirPods Pro 3. They kicked off the conference with that after a bit about design, which I think was an important distinction that Tim Cook called out compared to other phone makers and tech companies out there. But then they dove really fast into AirPods Pro 3. What's unique there? These are the best-selling AirPods in the world. Now even better, I guess.
Significantly better. I actually got ears on with them here. And the active noise cancellation is improved in two ways. One, they're using foam ear tips, and that does so much of a better job of sealing your ear canal.
That's passive noise canceling.
Correct, but that adds to the overall capabilities rather than the rubber tips that it used to ship with. So that alone, and it's more comfortable too, at least in my case. So the fit is better, it's more comfortable. Then both from a passive and an active perspective, the active noise cancellation is just much better on this. I'm a little annoyed that they haven't handed me a review unit that I can take on my series of flights tomorrow home. I have the last generation with me. That will have to do until I get the new ones. There's also a heart rate monitor on it, so you can use it for exercising. And there are two critical battery life improvements. One is it now lasts 8 hours with active noise cancellation on, which is really good for those of us who take 6-hour flights regularly and had our AirPods Pro die before the end of the flight, which has happened to me on multiple occasions. The other is that transparency mode now lasts for 10 hours, and that's crucial for people who use this as a hearing aid, and so you'll be able to use that basically for a full workday.
And then finally, they also unveiled real-time language translation powered by Apple Intelligence. So if you're talking with somebody who speaks another language, it will tell you in real time in your ears, almost real time, what they're saying in your native tongue.
We'll see how well that works. That's one of these AI features that I've seen from other manufacturers. It works. Sometimes it doesn't work. Others, sometimes it works, but there's so much of a delay. I have to test that before I'm willing to call that a game changer or anything like that. But again, price stayed the same, $249. They sound better. The noise cancellation is better. They fit better. They have new health features, and even if the translation is gobbledygook, I'm excited about these.
Yeah. Awesome. Finally, where can we follow you in your work? Where can our listeners tune in for more?
Sure. Techsponential is techsponential.com. All my research is published freely with no tracking, no ads, no subscription, and you can follow me on all major social platforms at Greengart.
Great to see you. Have a great rest of your show.
Thank you, Mark.
You are listening to Tech It Out. I'm your host, Mark Saltzman. If you want to reach out on social media to say hi, if you have any tech questions for me, maybe some suggestions for upcoming guests or topics, I'll spell my name in a moment, but you can find me on your favorite social media platform. In all likelihood, I'm on X, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. I don't think I missed any there. It's Mark Saltzman, MarkSaltzman. So Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z. If you prefer email, you can hit me up on my website at marksaltzman.com. The feedback I sometimes get is that people like calling in with their questions. I don't do that anymore because it's a syndicated show. So it runs in different cities and on different stations at different times, not to mention the podcast version, which is all on demand, whether it's at Apple Podcasts or Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Audible, Spreaker, TuneIn, and so on and so forth. So at the very least, I will help you over email, or if you want to message me on social media. And sometimes I read your questions on the air as well. This is episode 411. 411. We're giving you the info you need on tech trends. We talked a lot about Apple, but when we return, we're going to talk networking in the home, what's new in Wi-Fi and smart home gear with NETGEAR. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Check it out. Hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. Reliable and fast Wi-Fi is critical at home today because it's the backbone to your experiences, like entertainment, right? We're streaming TV shows and music and downloading games to your console or PC. It's also used for productivity, especially for those who work at home, even partially, or students doing homework. And Wi-Fi is also needed for accessing smart home gear, like video doorbells, security cameras, smart lights, and so much more. Don't believe me? Just ask your Alexa, Google, or Siri smart speaker, which also needs Wi-Fi to work. To talk with us about what's new in Wi-Fi, we're joined by NETGEAR. On the line, we've got Sandeep Harpalani. He's VP of Product Management at NETGEAR. Welcome back to the show, Sandeep. Good to chat with you again.
Thank you, and glad to be back here, Mark, and talk to you one more time about Wi-Fi, my favorite subject.
I'm sure. Let's start there, actually. Let's talk about the importance of good Wi-Fi at home.
Yeah, so I think, as you mentioned, Wi-Fi is actually a basic necessity for us today. It really drives everything that we do, from work, entertainment, our social connections. A lot of the devices that you have inside, most likely the next appliance that you will buy will have some kind of internet connectivity. I haven't come across anybody who has said that he will have less number of connected devices next year as what they have today.
So we're on the same page about the importance of Wi-Fi. And sure, there are still wired devices. There are still a couple of, smart TVs and laptops that have an Ethernet connection. But we love the convenience of not being tethered to the wall, right? We can even take our, laptop or tablet outside, especially this time of year. You want to download an ebook to your reader on a porch or a backyard deck. Wi-Fi allows you to do that as well. So tell us a bit about NETGEAR. This company's been around for a while. What is it, almost 30 years now?
That is correct. We are actually founded in 1996 and were the first company that was focused on consumer networking. And we continue to be very focused on that market and true to our mission of providing innovative solutions for connectivity to power extraordinary experiences. And we have a full suite of networking products, from your Wi-Fi routers, mesh solutions, we'll talk more about it, range extenders, adapters, power line, anything that you would need in your home to connect devices, most likely will have an option for that.
And so what separates NETGEAR, would you say, from other networking companies out there? I know there are a few.
I think one of the key things that separates us from others is really our experience in terms of building Wi-Fi products that are reliable, secure, and high performance, and provide you whole home coverage. There's a lot that goes into building a Wi-Fi product that provides you the best performance and range. We basically spend a lot of time in terms of designing these products. Wi-Fi is extremely sensitive to any kind of interference, so there's a lot that goes into making sure that you're getting the best range and performance. And we are really building a product without understanding the customer home environment. He might be living in a ranch-style home, or it might have a multi-storied. There might be different type of materials that are used in terms of bricks and so on, which have different level of Wi-Fi ability to go through that. So there's a lot that goes into developing these products to make sure that it works reliably and gives you the best performance for your home. NETGEAR has been a pioneer in terms of providing new solutions. We were the first to build the first tri-band, the quad-band Wi-Fi routers. We were the first to do the first range extenders. So we've done really looked at the market, understand the market, and provide the best performance solutions to this to make sure that our customers are able to enjoy and power those extraordinary experiences that they're looking for.
And it's not just hardware, right, Sandeep? There's also the software part, which is critical, including cybersecurity software, which I understand that NETGEAR provides. Can you tell us a bit about Armor?
Yeah, so this is, again, as I spoke about understanding of the customers, as you have more and more connected devices, customers are concerned about security. Now you have your front lock, which might be having a Bluetooth connection or Wi-Fi connection. So you want to make sure that your home is secure. In earlier times, you could basically have an antivirus running on your laptop or PC, and you're basically covered. But now you have these IoT devices which you cannot run any kind of a software on those, any kind of a security software on those. So you need something that is running on the Wi-Fi router. Think of it like a lock on your front door. That's how it's kind of most basic security requirements. So as we have seen these requirements change, we have basically developed this Armor solution, which is to protect all the devices in your home network, where we have partnered with Bitdefender, a leading security company, to have a solution so that everything that's behind your home network is secured. You don't need to run specifically software on every device that is in the home.
IoT, of course, is an acronym for Internet of Things. These are the millions of devices out there that all can talk to one another. And that includes those smart home devices in your home that I alluded to off the top, like security cameras and video doorbells, even things you wear, like a smartwatch, a smart ring. We're all connected, and they need to be secure at every access point to the internet. Why don't we now chat about the latest wireless standard called Wi-Fi 7? Is it time to upgrade to this?
Yes, so there are some significant improvements. Number one is, of course, the speed improvements. It's about a 4x speed improvement as compared to the last Wi-Fi 6 standard.
Wow.
But more important than that, improvements in terms of the robustness of Wi-Fi, reduction in terms of latency. So things like if you're playing a gaming application, or if you want a more secure connection, people are using it for work, they have Zoom calls and so on, video streaming. All these applications will benefit with Wi-Fi 7.
All right, so it's for faster speeds and lower latency, which is related, supporting more devices at the same time, and other benefits, security, as you mentioned. More with NETGEAR when we return on Tech It Out. Stay with us.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
We are chatting with Sandeep Harpalani. He is Vice President of Product Management at NETGEAR, a leading networking company. So how would you know when it's time to upgrade? Like, let's say we've got listeners right now thinking, well, I'm perfectly content with my existing router. Maybe it's Wi-Fi 6 or 6E, one of these slightly older standards. How do you know? Is it because things just don't work as smoothly? You're watching, a show on Netflix and it's buffering. You're seeing that little symbol in the middle of the TV that says wait kind of thing. Maybe you don't realize that from a security standpoint that your data is at risk when it is.
Yeah, there are actually a lot of factors here. One, of course, is, as you mentioned, the buffering part of it. If your router is 3 to 4 years old, most likely you're at least maybe 2 generations behind in terms of Wi-Fi. A lot of things have improved in terms of speed, in terms of connectivity, in terms of security, and it makes sense for, as if you're using this Wi-Fi as you're most likely you are, people don't think about it like, how many more connected devices have you added in the last 3 to 4 years?
Probably a lot.
How much has your internet speeds increased in the last couple of years? How many more subscriptions do you have for your video streaming or gaming? How much more usage you have because you're now doing work from home, you're doing Zoom calls, you're doing your work calls and so on. All of those things need to be taken into consideration. And I think one of the best ways that I recommend is for people to run the speed test near the router, and then maybe run the same speed test in other areas of the home. Maybe you're now want to work in the backyard, as you mentioned, or you have a new electric car that needs to be upgraded and that requires a connection, or you have IP cameras that are all around the home. Now your usage has changed, and it will be making sense to maybe run that same speed test at those areas and see, are you getting similar speeds or not? So if you're paying for a gigabit of internet, and at that farthest corner, if you're only getting 100 megabits or even 10 megabits and so on, effectively, you're not using maybe 99% of the bandwidth that you're paying for.
Right. Great point. And if people want to activate a speed test, it's very easy. Just go in your web browser and do a search for speed test, and you'll find different ones available. Like Ookla is a popular one, OOKLA. It'll show you the download speeds and compare that to what you're paying for and what you're supposed to be getting. That's a great point, Sandeep. Before we talk NETGEAR solutions, some actual product names that we may want to take note of, tell us a bit about mesh. I know it's not new, but for those in a larger home or maybe an older home with, say, concrete walls, a mesh system may be ideal. Multi-room solution.
That is correct. So one of the fundamental issues that mesh solves is of coverage. This is, again, laws of physics. As you move away from a Wi-Fi router, your speed goes down. That's where the mesh system comes in. It's multiple units. So it could be 2 units, it could be 3 units. You take the main Wi-Fi router, connect it to wherever you're getting your internet connection, and then you have satellites or nodes, as you call it, in terms of that can be spread throughout the home.
Those little pucks that you plug in the wall.
Yes, and then it doesn't require any wired connection or anything. It's all connected through Wi-Fi, and you have the same Wi-Fi network name throughout. So as you move around in your home, maybe as you're doing a call, a Zoom call, you don't see any kind of a disconnections. You're basically getting the similar level of performance that you're getting on one end of the house to another end of the house. And that's where our products come in, Orbi comes in specifically. I think our differentiation here is for these mesh systems is not only do we provide that increased range, we try to get you a similar kind of internet speeds that you're getting at where your router is to where your satellites is.
Could you tell us just for a minute or so what some of the NETGEAR brand names we should look for or model numbers we should be looking for?
So for our mesh products, that's the Orbi range of mesh solutions.
Right. So that's ORBI.
We have a whole range of Wi-Fi 7 Orbi mesh products. The best in class is the Orbi 970.
All right. So NETGEAR is the company. Orbi is the brand that I think a lot of our listeners would want to make note of. That's ORBI. There's mesh systems. There's routers. There's something for different applications. If you're a hardcore gamer, you're going to want a higher end, a faster solution. But there's no shortage of them. Is the best website simply netgear.com to get going, or would you recommend a particular retailer?
No, netgear.com is a great place to start. Basically, you can look at our mesh products. You can look at our standalone routers, which is the Nighthawk, goes under the brand name of NIGHTHAWK. And we have a whole full range of customers who are looking for a standalone router. So you have all those options, the range extenders, adapters, all kind of connectivity solutions to make sure that you're getting the best Wi-Fi throughout your home.
Awesome. I think we talked about Nighthawk the last time you were on the show. Sandeep, thank you so much for carving out some time to chat with us once again. Again, Sandeep Harpalani has been our guest from NETGEAR, netgear.com for more. I hope you have a wonderful summer. Thanks again.
Thank you, Mark.
Hey, and thank you for tuning in to Tech It Out, everyone. We chatted a lot about the iPhone Air and iPhone 17 and other Apple devices, networking gear. I want to give a shout out to Sandisk if you're looking for storage for your favorite devices. I always trust my data with Sandisk. They have amazing deals on high capacity, versatile, and durable solutions. Sandisk.com has more. Thank you to Visa for your partnership on Tech It Out as well. Have a great rest of your day, everyone, and I look forward to catching up with you next time for another brand new episode of Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.